Hello, thank you for watching my video. Well, I don't normally do these how-to videos like this. So today, I've had a few people ask me how I make swivels for my jewelry. And the swivel is simply a piece that allows the jewelry to turn without knotting, twisting, or breaking. And it's really easier than you would think. Doesn't require very much. And the way I do it, I think it looks pretty well. Here's one without a stone attached. It only takes a couple of small things that you can buy just about anywhere. I'm not going to list any brand names on this video. Nobody is currently sponsoring me. So at this point in time, no brand names are getting listed. Standard head pins that you can make yourself or purchase. The gauge on these is generally doesn't matter. Whatever is going to fit your style you can have, and as long as you are able to bend it and twist it. This is a rather hard wire, and it is a steel wire. The head pin is pretty solid. And then the next thing is a piece of either 20 or 24 gauge. Again, the gauge doesn't really matter. This wire here is only 1 3/4 inches long. Now, this is what's going to create this part of the swivel, the upper part. The head pin and a couple of glass beads, which I have right here, small glass beads, that will create the lower part of the swivel. And again, this can change any size that you require. Today, this is the sizes that I am working in. I also have a couple of jump rings that I made a while ago, and these will be for using for attachment pieces. So I'm going to try my best to do everything on camera. Don't have the most elaborate setup, so I'm going to just move this away. I'm going to be using primarily only a couple of tools here. Number one, flush cutters. Okay, simple. Just about everybody who makes jewelry should have a pair of flush cutters in their box. If you don't, they are not really expensive. You can get them at most hardware stores or discount hardware stores. I acquired these from a discount hardware store. Now these are chain nose pliers. They're flat on the inside and rounded slightly on the outside. Some people call them tweezer pliers, or some people will just call them flat nose pliers. But slight round here and nice flat smooth inside. Again, you can buy these at practically any hardware store or discount hardware store. And then I have a couple of different sizes of round nose pliers that I have picked up over the years, but primarily I like to use this old pair because it is squared here and it helps me apply more force to my bends. Something like this is really good, but on a harder wire, they tend to twist. Again, you can get these at just about any hardware store or discount hardware store. There are several places. You can order them online as well. Okay, so here I am about 4 minutes into the video. I haven't made anything yet except for a fool of myself. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this 1 3/4 piece wire and my round nose pliers. Now I'm going to keep it very close to the end, and I want to make it flush with the end of the pliers so I'm not sticking past it. Holding onto this nice and tightly, I am going to bend the wire around. I'm trying to do this on camera. Bend the wire around until it is touching itself on the backside. Okay, sure it is touching. Now, you can do this a couple different ways. I like to do it like this, and then I'll go inside and just give it a slight bend back to put a slight curve there. Some people will go ahead and pre-bend the wire and then bend it back. It works either way. It doesn't really matter that much. So, now keeping the same side of this up, but I put it back of my pliers, and I want to put it, make sure it's right on the end of the pliers, right at the same space, and we're going to roll that one back as well. Again, this is pretty hard wire, and roll it back till it's touching. If you're not touching, you could always just put the plier in there just a little bit to make sure it is touching. And then I'll put it right here again and give it a slight bend backwards just to make sure I've got that little curve, and make any adjustments needed. Okay, so I'm just using this to hold that for a second so I can make sure I'm facing the same direction. One other tool you're going to need is either a dowel or a ring mandrel. I have a ring mandrel here, and in order to bend these, I like to go right to the last line on my ring mandrel, which puts it, well, I guess that is a size 2 in US size. So I will just put this on there, and I just keep making sure that these little hoops are facing the same direction, and I'll just bend that around. And I'll make sure that I get it bent right. Then I'll take my chain nose pliers, and I will continue using that pressure and try to keep it rounded, and just bend it back till I'm almost touching with the ends here. Okay, that gives you almost that teardrop shape that I like for my swivels, something similar to that there. Okay, now here I grab one of these here and just bend it in like so. Then grab the other side and bend it again. You should have something that looks like that. Straighten them up a little bit and hold on to it and bend it right back in on itself. So that way you'll be able to have them line right up. Now don't worry if they come a little bit apart like this here. They will go back together once you're finishing the piece. So that is this top part here. This one's a little bit smaller than this one. I went for, this was a 2-inch piece of wire here. This one's 1 3/4. It depends on the need. And now I'm grabbing my head pin. Now on the head pin, first thing I want to do, make sure that my glass beads will fit and I don't need to clean them up. And then you can take your head pin and glass bead, and it'll give you an idea of what it's going to look like through the swivel. Push it right through. Okay. Really simple to do that. The next part is pretty easy too. Just going to take your next glass bead, and as long as it fits, slide it right down. So you can always bend this just a little bit, make sure it's straight. And now you have two beads. And at this length, you can determine for yourself whatever is going to fit your needs. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in right down about here, just going to arbitrarily go in, and I'm going to put a little dent in the wire and then bend it about 35 degrees, something like that. And I go right down near the bottom of my round nose, and then just bend back the wire over the top. Bring it almost straight, and pick up the wire again in my round nose to complete that bend, like so. Back to my chain nose pliers to help me hold this. You might notice a slight tremor in my hand. Unfortunately, I do have a condition, so the tremor cannot go away, and I have to deal with a lot of very close, small handwork while my hands shake. So I keep practicing, and eventually I get something that looks fairly decent. I'm just going to wrap that around 3 times there, and as I come around, before I get completed with the 4th, I'm going to take my flush cut pliers, and I'm going to get really, really close. These flush cuts here, trim that off. I'll take my chain nose again, and I'm going to make sure that that is flat where I made the cut without crushing the bead. And if you have a little burr, which it seems I do, then you can just take a small file and clean up that burr. There, it's better. Now, sometimes these things are going to want to slide or sit to the side a bit, and because it's very hard wire, you want to make sure that you have bent it properly. But regardless, you will end up with a decent swivel. There's jump rings here. Anybody who's worked with jump rings before knows you just bend them out, put them on. Oops. Put them on your piece, and bend it back. You hear the click. Make sure your jump ring is touching both sides, flush across. Same here. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of a hiccup, but you get it back into place, like so. All right, and that is how you make a simple little swivel for jewelry. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have and would like to see more, I do plan on producing more videos, a lot more how-tos, and a lot of videos just showing off some of my more intricate pieces. So please like and subscribe. Share the video if you like it. Thank you so much, and have a great day.